What's up, good people? You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you are here with us on the Full Coverage Football Show. You got the NBA draft, the MLB trade deadline, all kinds of other stuff going on, but you are here with us. And on the other side of this, we'll be back with Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Drew Ward, Ward's Wagers tonight, Texas, Oklahoma, and so much more. See you on the other side. What is up? Welcome into the Full Coverage Football Show. My name is Jeremy at Somerville CLE on Twitter. That is my co-host, Mr. Drew Ward at Detroit Dave 7 on Twitter. Brother, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Mic's on now. We are in good shape. I am doing good, man. Ready to talk some football. Happy to be with you. How are things on your end?
Brother, I'm doing well. I can't complain. We'll talk about how my day was coming up.
I look
Drew and JBS about their day, which technically is going to be my yesterday, but hey, I'm going to move it into today because today was nothing special. But without further ado, let's get into the show. We are starting off with the one and only Mr. Aaron Rodgers. Y'all, I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to play the audio because for those listening on the podcast, you're not going to miss anything. For those watching live right now or watching on YouTube or Periscope or Facebook, you get to look at us, listen to what Aaron Rodgers had to say in his presser yesterday as he entered into his 17th season with the Green Bay Packers. We are going to go a minute and a half. That's all we really need to go on this, and we're going to let it rip from there. Listen to what this man had to say. And it's not going to load up yet, but we'll get into that. Give me just a second here.
You're good, dude. So before it gets loaded, yeah, Aaron Rodgers just showed up and chose violence.
There's our video. Now we should be able to get the audio. Yeah, he said some things. Let me know if you can hear this now.
No.
Nothing for you?
No.
All right.
I can see him now.
You can see him now.
I can see him.
Hey, this is how things work sometimes when you're doing live.
To hell with Aaron Rodgers.
Everything worked fine before the show started. I had it all. Man. Let me try this one more time. Let me click another button here. Now I got the audio and the video, hopefully. One more time. Let me know if you can hear this. And for those listening, watching right now, I hope you're enjoying our little technical difficulties.
This is awesome. Everybody likes to see the struggle.
You know, my desire to be
we got it, baby.
More involved in conversations directly affected my job. Also, I wanted to help the organization maybe learn from them some of the mistakes in the past, in my opinion, about the way that some of the outgoing veterans were treated, and just the fact that we didn't retain a number of players that I felt like were core players to our foundation, our locker room, high character guys. I'm talking about Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews, Randall Cobb, James Jones, John Kuhn, Brett Good, TJ Lang, Brian Balaga,
everyone.
Micah Hyde were, exceptional players for us, but great locker room guys, high character guys. Many of them who weren't offered a contract at all, or were extremely lowballed, or were, maybe in my opinion, not given the respect on the way out that guys of their status and stature and high character deserved.
Aaron Rodgers got real. And this is something you don't usually see. Guys come out usually say, hey, this is an issue between me and the front office. He came out guns a-blazing saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is my problem with the team.
He basically said, this is my team now, right? I'm gonna tell you, because look, I get where Rodgers is coming from, right? To an extent, I do, but also like he's not the GM, right? Like I understand that you can at least be in the ear of the guys in the organization, telling them how you feel about a particular player. And certainly they have to take that into account and respect it for the simple fact that you're the best player on the team. And all of a sudden, he's back. The Adams conversations are back going. So, like, for me, it's tough because it's like I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, yes, they're making decisions that affect you, what you do as you're on your job is, on a weekly basis when we talk about the NFL season. However, that's the way sports works, right? Like, we're not, in football, you rarely see. I mean, think of Tom Brady and the way things were ran in New England. New England did whatever the hell they wanted to do, right? So it's tough, and I get where he's coming from, and I get the leverage he has. To say that the guys were being disrespected going out the door, and he named off like every guy he'd ever played with. So again, like I get that too. And listen, when you build relationships with guys and have success like Aaron Rodgers has with a lot of the guys that he's mentioned, you have a certain relationship there. So I feel like, yeah, you're probably going to be offended when your guys are pissed off, when your guys are just, let go or let walk without even giving them a reasonable contract. And so that part's interesting to me. But again, it's like for me, it's like, and I ask you, is he trying to be too much into what he thinks like his role should be, or what authority he has and where he stands inside the organizations? Are these decisions that he should be involved with, or is he kind of overstepping the line at this point? I mean, I guess, listen, with the Packers, they were like, oh, you want us to go trade for Randall Cobb? That'll get you back? Okay, we could do that. So I don't know where it stands, but hey, he's back. We'll see what that goes into next year and kind of go from there. Are you still with me? All right. That's fine. I'll roll about Aaron. I'll talk more about Aaron Rodgers. So let's think. So the way that things are structured, based off of everything we've read and we've seen, that this gives him the opportunity for an out next year. And that got signed pretty much before we came on the show. Now you can ask yourself whether you think that they're going to be able to mend the situation over the year. I think certainly a lot of that may have to deal with the success the team has. I think they're always going to be pretty damn solid when Aaron Rodgers is at the helm. So for me, it's I don't know if that relationship is too tarnished at this point to where, regardless of what they try to do to build it back this year, is it too late? And from what Rodgers was saying, I mean, this wasn't just the Jordan Love being drafted, right? This wasn't just that. This was more. It was for a way longer period of time, and he kind of hit it on the head with what he was saying. But then he goes into account, like, how did Aaron Rodgers handle this whole situation? Do we sit there and say, okay, so is Aaron Rodgers, did he win this situation? Did he lose? I mean, I don't know if it makes really anybody look good. It looks like the organization, to an extent, the Packers organization kind of said, hey, we got to do what we got to do to have Aaron Rodgers back. And so it's like, did Aaron Rodgers really win at the end of this entire thing? It's hard for me to say yes or no, because it seems like he just ended up back playing for the Packers, whether it's this 1 year, but he, at the same time, he is now back a part of that organization, at least for this next year. And we'll see if the relationship can be mended from that point forward. Hey, man, can you hear me? My co-host's having some issues over there tonight, and that's fine. That's fine.
Internet's out, baby.
You're struggling, man.
All right, can you hear me? Am I back?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm gonna take it as a no.
Yeah.
All right, good. We're back. Hey, Spectrum just texted me to tell me that my internet's out. Great timing, Spectrum. Anyway.
Interesting.
You've been talking to Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I was just ripping off about Rodgers there. Now that you're here for now, welcome back. And what say you?
But Aaron did what he had to do this offseason, which I respect. I mean, he's frustrated with the team. He's been there, 17 years now. He hasn't got help. You're looking at what they had last year. First and second round picks, quarterback and running back. He's the quarterback. Aaron Jones is the running back. And then you re-sign Aaron Jones and bring him back. You're not helping this guy. As he gets older to win a Super Bowl, you're not doing what's best for the entire team. Right now, when you have a chance, this is your window. Win it now when you can. Instead, they're looking towards the future and making crazy draft picks and pissing off your best player. Don't do that. Now, for Aaron Rodgers to come out the way he did and say what he said, respect him for that, because other guys will hide everything. It's me in the front office. This is me and the GM, whatever it is. Came out and got rude. And I respect him 100% for that. Props to the guy.
Yeah, it's certainly rare.
I'm trying to connect my computer here, so let me know if you can still hear me as we're going.
Yeah, I can still hear you. Yeah, it's rare. Like you don't see guys come out and do that. You just don't and it's funny because I think Aaron says at this point, I don't give a damn. I'm here now. What are they? What's the worst that could happen? They don't want me here next year. You know what I mean? I'm gonna talk and say how I feel about things, and really there's no negative consequence that I see from it besides
test.
I can hear you, I can't see you. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. I just don't think it works out. But you don't see. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, hopefully this works now.
Okay, welcome back, man. Yeah, but I just don't see how things get better over a year without extreme success on the field, right? I mean, that's what the first thing. If they're mediocre, which they're not going to be because they have Aaron Rodgers. If they're a good football team, that's certainly going to help. But again, I don't think it's the guys that are lining up next to him. It's clearly the organization, and they've pissed him off. Is it too much though? Is it too late at this point? I don't know.
I mean, you look at what they did for him today in the contract, and basically they said, "Listen, we respect you, ready to go, ready to move on from you eventually, but let's try to make this work. We're going to trade for Randall Cobb," which is something he wanted. He wanted to bring back Randall Cobb. He mentioned Randall Cobb in that press conference. And yeah, it's crazy to think Randall Cobb would be.
Yeah, he could have flexed and went for somebody a little bit better than Randall Cobb, right?
Yeah. Bring me in,
not really.
Julio Jones or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone but Randall Cobb. And
they could have brought in Julio Jones, but too little, too late.
And they could have still brought in Randall Cobb on top of that, but they didn't. Instead, you bring in Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb gets there today, and he's like, "Y'all, I escaped prison," telling you how bad it is in Houston. But for Aaron, I mean, this is a great thing for him. He's going to be a free agent now, I believe, 2023. They moved money around, so he's not going to have to pay back any signing bonus with that voided the year. He's going to get a chance, towards the end of his career if he wants. Maybe he pulls a Tom Brady, goes somewhere else, wins a Super Bowl. But he's got a year or another year maybe in Green Bay to do something. And bringing back Randall Cobb, yeah, we can laugh at that because of the guy we see on the field lately. But apparently it's more about guys off the field and what they can do in the locker room and the veteran leadership they're bringing. And that was a big deal to Aaron. So respect to Aaron for that. Now, that segment was all kinds of screwed up with my internet going out when it did and the audio not working, maybe because the internet was going out. What the hell?
I was just like, hey, so what do you think about that? And then I was like, I thought you just had me on the large screen while I was talking. I was like, okay, I'm rolling. And then I'm like, okay, he's not there.
Well, yeah, you started out as solo layout, and I'm like, oh, I'll hop back in. And all of a sudden I'm like, what's going on? And then I get a call, and I'm like, it's Spectrum. What the hell? Are they telling me I didn't pay my bill or something? It's on auto pay. I'm like, it should be good. They call. They're like, we're experiencing issues in your area. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Thanks
a lot for that update. Have
Fantastic
a great rest of your night, Jan. Now I got to get back to figuring out how to get on my show here. And then I got T-Mobile, who's like, we're going to give you 1 bar while you're sitting upstairs, but if you're downstairs, you got 5. Makes no sense. Anyways, speaking of Houston, One guy escaped the prison, and now you got another guy who is barely escaping actual prison in Deshaun Watson, and that kid's in the biz. It's called a segue. Anyway, not just for Paul Blart. Anyway, back to that. I'm annoyed. But yeah, Deshaun Watson showing up for training camp. We don't know if he's going to be allowed to play. The NFL doesn't know if he's going to be allowed to play. He doesn't know if he's going to be eligible to play. Nobody knows what's going on, but he's showing up because he doesn't want to get fined $50,000 a day. Nobody wants to get fined $50,000 a day. I get that, but is this good for Houston to allow him in camp, knowing now all of a sudden you're okay with letting him go? Is this good for Deshaun to be there when we're like, hey, there's 30 massage therapists? Like, hey, hashtag me too. What the is going on here?
I don't know what to say. It was just weird seeing him out there, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, is that Deshaun Watson? He showed up? And then it's like, okay. And then if you're Houston, now knowing that you're open to having trade discussions, and whether you want to believe the Eagles are part of that or the Dolphins, whatever you want to read into that, you know how it goes. So how much do you want him to do, right? How much practicing do you want him to do? Because the last thing you want is a dude with a bunch of allegations that's injured and you can't trade for anything when you're already basically a poverty team at this point. It's Randall Cobb called. He said that he said that they're like a startup company while the Green Bay Packers are a Fortune 500 company. I'm like, damn.
This is a team that could have won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Now we're talking about them like they're the 2016 Browns or something.
Yeah,
but that's how bad they are. I mean, it dropped, and without Deshaun Watson, they're real bad.
Don't you think that with their leverage, they could have gotten more than a 6th rounder for Randall Cobb?
You would think, but I think at the same time, they're like, you know what? Let's just get this done and move on. I got enough things to worry about with, my
so many things
quarterback
to worry
out
about
there. And you're letting this guy out there knowing his trade value is already dwindling. You're not getting what you thought you would get for him earlier in the offseason. He's still worth something.
What's going on? You sure he's worth something, but nobody knows what to do. Deshaun Watson doesn't know what to do. The Texans don't know what to do. The NFL doesn't know what to do. Everybody's just like, what do we do? Is this? It feels weird that this guy's allowed to camp, but
hey,
Deshaun Watson's not going to turn down money. Why would he not be? He's not doing anything. Why wouldn't he be at camp? And then the Texans are like, I don't know. What do we? What do we do? I don't know if anybody knows what to do. Everybody's just kind of sitting on their hands because, you would think that, everybody's like, well, the NFL needs to do this and the NFL needs to do that, banging the table. It's like, what are they supposed to do at this point? None of this is in criminal court. It's all basically in civil level now. And so, and we know that there's going to be dollars that float from one way or to the other. And that's, if people are dumb, that's how all of these things end up working. If it's civil for the, it's almost like, whether it's regardless of it's true or not, at some point you're like, just shut up and let's get this over with. Let's I don't want to say shut up because that was bad. I didn't mean shut up to
I knew what you meant, but I'm glad you're clarifying it.
Let's just get this over with more. Let's put this behind us kind of thing. So it's just I don't know, dude. I'm thinking, I don't even know what we're approaching the season. It's finally, but football's here soon. What's Deshaun Watson going to be? Is he going to be on a different team? Is he going to be able to play? Is he I don't think we have any idea.
This is why all offseason I kept saying Rodgers needed to step in and figure something out now before we got to this where no one knows what's going on. And yes, we know they're just allegations. But you look at what Ben Roethlisberger got suspended for when he had one allegation against him. He got suspended 6 games. Now, I believe that was multiple times he had that allegation, nothing proven. Same thing with Deshaun Watson right now, but nothing proven. Suspended 6 games. If a team trades for Deshaun Watson, based on the allegations, based on everything that's been out there, and if he does end up paying someone off, which in a way admits some guilt on his part, I would think, you're trading for a guy who you're going to have him figure out your offense quick, and then he's going to not be available, but you're playing a long-term game if he's going to be there. It's a mess. This is why I said all offseason, Roger Goodell needed to step in and do something right now. Say you can't trade him till we get everything cleared up. He doesn't need to be in camp. You can't fine him. We'll work something out, figure it out then. Instead, now we're sitting here and you're right. Nobody knows what's going on. Deshaun's like, well, if I don't show up, it's $50K a day, and I got some legal bills to worry about. I got to be there. The Texans are like, well, we don't want to fine him, so yeah, come on in. And teams are like, well, what the hell's going on? Can we trade for him? Is he going to get suspended? And Roger Goodell's like,
right.
What?
Well, and again, though, it's like it's tough because like I was the guy that was like saying, hey, you can't trade Deshaun Watson if you're the Texans. But like at this point, he's not going to play for your organization. He's got all this stuff hanging over his head. Even if he plays for your organization, you're a 6 or 7 win team, and that's with how awesome Deshaun Watson is as a player when he's on the field. But like you have to deal him now. Like, you know what I mean? And it's all of a sudden like if you're Houston, you're in full rebuild, right? Like we need to reset it and we need to move forward. Like from what was a proud franchise, like that was consistently in the playoffs, consistently contending for, that division. Now it's just like they're just the Bill O'Brien effect, and now this, and like they're just depleted of roster talent at this point. So like, even if Deshaun Watson plays, you're gonna suck.
Yeah.
So like it's time to just take what you can get. Clearly Philadelphia is not sold on Jalen Hurts because Philadelphia has been a team that you've heard tied to the idea of this for a long time.
Yeah.
This isn't something new. So I'm interested to see. He's going to be traded. I think if they were smart, they would try to trade him and at least try to get rid of him before they come down with what kind of suspension, if there is one. Because then maybe it makes it better for some teams knowing it. But like if it's a year or whatnot, then that might go hurt his value at that point.
Yeah, and if he does get dealt to Philly, we got to bring our guy Chris Infante, who's been a friend of the show. He's been on once or twice now. We got to bring him on. He is not a fan of that idea at all. Don't blame him for it. Absolutely hates it. But in this situation, we're still saying guilty until proven innocent rather than innocent until proven guilty.
You have to.
And it's a mess. It's a terrible situation. I mean, for this many people to come forward, something weird's got to happen. It's not just a money grab for probably 90% of these women who've come out. It would be my guess, my gut feeling. It's hard enough for these women sometimes to come out, especially against a high-profile athlete. And then you got the ones who are like, well, I met him once. I can get some money out of this. Hopefully this shit gets taken care of. If you're Houston, do the right thing right now. Say, Deshaun, appreciate you. We don't know what's going on with your contract or your eligibility to play. We know you don't want to be here. We'll see what we can get for you. Go home. We're not going to fine you. Let's just call it, hey, we can take the loss. You're a $1 billion NFL franchise. Take the loss. Don't fine the guy $50,000 a day. Or maybe say, hey, we'll just say we're not going to pay you until we figure this out, or whatever you got to figure out. I'm pretty sure he's not getting game checks if he's not playing. It doesn't matter. You're not doing anything. Send the boy home. You don't need this circus around a young team that's rebuilding. Start fresh. You got to do a full rebuild. Start fresh.
Who's playing quarterback for them?
I could play quarterback for them. Hey,
I don't even know.
When A-Rod came back to the Packers, they let Blake Bortles go. Blake Bortles is available.
Journeyman.
Right
At this point, Blake Bortles is just cashing paychecks that's just kind of like chill on the bench. And good for him, dude. Like that's the perk of being like an NFL quarterback that's just good enough to like hang on to a job where you can be somewhat competent if you have to actually play. And whatnot. Hey, real quick off topic, who Cleveland ended up taking?
Evan Mobley, center out of USC. Big ups to you for getting Cade Cunningham. That is a nice get if the kid lives up.
Big night for the boys. It's a big night for the boys.
The Pistons. You know what? Let's do something here. I want to chat about something that has nothing to do with football, but that's what this show is about. Is football usually, but we also like to go off topic every now and then and just go down these rants. Let's get away from rape allegations and all this crap. And
that sounds good to me, man.
Yeah. I mean, enough.
I'm
Deshaun,
okay with that.
let them, like Houston,
Let
take
them
care of
play.
it. Anyway, there's this kid telling me, and this kid was born, I'm pretty sure, late 90s. He can't be older than 18, 20 years old. So even, actually, shit, that makes him born after 2000. So this kid's opinion on 80s NBA basketball means jack shit to me. But this kid tells me that Kevin Durant could score 40 points a game in the 1980s NBA. My response to him is, look how thick Kevin Durant is and what Rick Mahorn, John Sally, and the bad boys of Detroit would have done to Kevin Durant. How good is Kevin Durant in the 80s?
Well, Kevin Durant can still shoot the lights out of the ball. However, you can't shoot your way to 40 points a game every night. People would be arrested for the fouls that the bad boys used to. I mean, you would be suspended multiple games in today's NBA.
10, 20.
There's 30. A lot of the guys, and trust me, like, I'm not one of the guys that's going to say, like, the guys back then were way better. Like, I think Larry Bird could still play today.
Bird can score on anyone.
Yeah, but I'm also not going to be like the guy that says, like, the young guys couldn't at least get some against the old guys, right? They're bigger, faster, stronger. But there's some guys that couldn't play 82 games the way that it was played in the 80s. These guys couldn't hold up to that. And it's just like, dude, the NBA has become a 3-point and a free throw contest. That's what the NBA is now, right? There's no mid-range game at all. Either shoot threes or you get to the line, and if you're a James Harden or Kevin Durant, you're shooting 20 of them a game. It's like 20 up, 20, 22 free throws a game because some guy looked at you. They didn't touch you. They just looked at you. The whistle blew. You're going to the line. That wouldn't – back in the day, like, people were getting injured and the whistle was swallowed, right? Nobody was blowing the whistle. So, yeah, I think Kevin Durant, with his frame, he would still score. He'd still be a good player just because his length and width, but he's not averaging 40 points a game.
Durant would get injured first game. Like, if they open the season his rookie year against Pistons, he's probably in a hospital.
And the Pistons would go out of their way to make sure that, like, they went at it. Because, like, that's kind of how they were. Like, with the slim frame guy, they're going to go at him. And that's exactly what they would have done. Yeah. But, yeah, it's I miss a little bit of that. Like, I liked watching basketball better then than I do now. I will occasionally watch basketball. I mean, I watched the Pistons. And, I was listening to this is what pissed me off. I'm listening right before the show. I'm listening to, like, randomly, I like scrolling through my Twitter feed, and there's like NBA pre-draft, like, with a bunch of just dudes on Twitter, right? Just shooting the shit. And this guy's like, yeah, well, Cade's going to Detroit where, the players just go to die. I'm like, okay. Like, plenty of championships the Detroit Pistons have won. It's been a bad stretch, but they weren't terrible last year. They got a lot of young talent. I don't think players go to die in Detroit. So that made me upset. And we got Cade Cunningham, and he's going to be good. And again, they're young, but they did make an interesting trade. This is the NBA nowadays. So the Pistons traded Mason Plumlee, who was awesome last year for us, and the 37th pick for the 57th pick.
Cash dump.
Yeah, it's just like this. Like, damn. And everybody's like super pissed off. They're like, oh, you know what I mean? We got that's the difference of the NBA now. It's like it's kind of like playing like 2K, like, right? Like, or you're trying to just whatever you can do to manipulate the cap.
Yep. Go into settings, turn the cap off, turn off cap penalties, whatever you can do. I mean, it happens. But that's the crazy thing about it. Like, you think about those 90s teams, like when the Heat and the Knicks used to play, the Pat Riley era, Charles Oakley and Alonzo Mourning, those dudes were just beating the crap out of each other. And now everything's tick-tack foul. That was my argument against Durant in the 80s, and he wouldn't have survived against the Knicks and Heat in the 90s either. Don't get me wrong. Players nowadays, way faster, way more athletic. Hell, I'd even say better shooters when it comes to long range.
They're 100% better shooters from long range. Like, guys in the 80s, the 3-point line was relatively, like, new, like, right? Yeah. So there was guys like, I think Larry Bird might have averaged, like, I want to say less than 4 3-pointers a game, 3-point attempts a game. We're like, now guys are getting up like 12 or 13. So, like, they're shooting 3 times the amount of 3-pointers. And Larry Bird shot like as many threes as anybody. So, like, that's relative to just, like, the guy kind of at the top to now. It's almost like, I mean, shit, Damian Lillard will shoot 14 of them on a night.
Yeah,
like
on a first quarter.
And from the logo. Like, these guys now, and there's some cool stuff to watch. Like, I'll watch Steph Curry because he's ridiculous. You probably don't like Steph Curry, but, like,
no, I love Steph.
Talking about a guy that's fun to watch play, like, if a guy like Steph Curry, this has become the full coverage basketball show. If a guy like Steph Curry,
it's just a basketball break,
hold up like that, like if it's anybody but Steph Curry shooting like I'd have his ass on the bench and he'd never get off of it if he took some of the shit. But it's Steph Curry, he makes them, dude. Like, it's at an incredible rate. Like, I know he has off nights, but he has 11 3-pointer nights all the time.
Yep.
Like, it's insane. It really is.
Yeah, we probably couldn't do a full coverage basketball show because I was watching the pre-draft stuff before we came on, and I was like, okay, first player, I kind of know him. Yeah, second guy, seeing the top 20 guys Billis has ranked on ESPN. They're like 8 guys in, and I'm like, couldn't tell you who this guy is. Meanwhile, NFL draft, we're like 220 players deep, and I'm like, this kid had a rough thing. His uncle's cousin's grandma's dog died during the season. Meanwhile, these guys are like the 9th player in the draft, and they're freshmen, and I've never heard of them. But
and that's the other thing is like with college basketball, and I don't want to say I'm a casual fan, but I will. Like, I'm not. I'll tune in for the conference tournaments in March Madness, right? Of course, I follow sports, so like I'll hear about a guy, and if I'm scrolling through the channels, I see them playing, I'll watch it for 10, 15 minutes. College basketball, they dribble the ball out, the air out of the ball. The 30-second shot clock is terrible. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's definitely like when we talk about college football, we're watching college football all the time, right? Like, we have big SEC games, like. Yeah, multiple SEC games. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have Big Ten games. It's like, so like we can like pick and choose, and we can watch it all day long, and we start to know these guys. Whereas college basketball, they have a ton of games. They play like 30 games, and I don't pay attention until the last 14 or maybe 10.
Jalen Suggs was an amazing player this year for Gonzaga, but you only see him 1 year.
Yeah,
I mean, and then it's moving on. But speaking of the SEC, we're going to get to that in just a second, but we do have some breaking news. Big deal, as Colts owner Jim Irsay just donated $2 million to IU cancer research.
Bro,
nice going, Jimmy.
I thought that there could be one or two ways we're going with the news. When you brought up Jim Irsay, I'm like, oh shit, we could be going back down the bad path that we could, or something positive. I'm glad that it was the latter.
Yeah, definitely better that it was the latter. Good for him. And let's get back to football. Let's talk SEC. Texas and Oklahoma. Their boards of regents will meet tomorrow to discuss accepting the SEC's invitation to become part of the conference in 2025. And you talk about money and the games on the SEC and how many you can see. There's rumors that ESPN had something to do with getting Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. We'll get to that. But first, a cease and desist letter to a network head. Like $3 billion they pay for SEC Network. They love the SEC. We know that. There's no football outside the SEC. But anyway, let's get into that. What do you think about Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC?
Okay, multiple things. First of all, why? So here's the reason I say why. We just expanded the playoff to 8. One of the two of you are getting in every single year. For the most part, right?
If you stay in the Big 12?
Right, yes, if you
100%.
stay in the Big 12. So you are one or the two of you are going to get in every single year, right? So you start there. I know the money thing's not a huge deal, but like it's $160 million for each school to get out of the Big 12.
Yeah.
The SEC, the board unanimously voted to bring them in. Of course they did. And I also think there's no benefit for Oklahoma and Texas when they're about to play teams that are way better than the Big 12 teams they were playing. And that's no disrespect to the Big 12. It's just
you disrespect the Big 12 defenses every episode we talk about them.
Well, that we're in the offseason. I'm not going to do that
back
right
a little
now.
bit. All right.
It's true. I do roast them all the time. But listen, like we're talking about now, you're starting to play your entire season against an SEC, which is always loaded. So, and let's not act like Texas hasn't already been having their problems with their football program. Now, and I know what Lincoln Riley's doing in the quarterback factory that is Oklahoma at this point, but Oklahoma hasn't won a championship. Again, Texas has struggled for a while now, and of course, like for me, it's always numbers based with a school, and I know that the schools know that they can make more money in the SEC. Especially since they've already have this ginormous brand. You know how, I mean, Texas football, I think, has their own channel. Like, yeah. Like we're talking like this is big time stuff down in that part of the country and everywhere, right? But I think this is just showing us that this is all coming into what's going to become a 20 to 25 team mega conference. I've heard the SEC has reached out to Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson. Like, these are preliminary talks, of course, and I don't expect those teams to jump ship like Oklahoma and Texas did. But look for the Big Ten to start to try to bring in maybe a Cincinnati
game.
Yeah. Well, see, Notre Dame's their heads are too far up their own asses where they think that they're elite, that they won't like go into another conference. Eventually, they're going to have to, right?
In the words of you, every time we talk about them, get in a damn conference already.
Yeah, like, so it's like eventually, from what I see, is it's going to just become a mega conference, which I don't know how that works out. I don't know how that works. Like, when we start getting so many teams into a conference, then we're losing some rivalries that we've grown to love through the conference because we don't have enough games for everybody to play everybody. No. So for Texas and Oklahoma, I think as far as competition wise right now, they were better off staying in the Big 12 with the playoff expanding than they were to go to the SEC. I get it, and this is all money driven. I mean, the fact that both schools are willing to pay combined $320 million to get out of it is telling in itself.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth, man. I mean, for me, like, why? I get it. You go to the SEC, you're playing better teams. Yes, great. You're playing better teams every day. You're playing teams with actual defenses. Yes, get that. Great. Also, Russ officially going to the Lakers and Russ and LeBron playing together. Drew's a Lakers fan now. Going to come on next 2 weeks from now with a Lakers hat on. But
that's true.
I just don't understand why you want to do this because it's not like it's helping you recruit. You're getting 5-star athletes all around at Texas, even though Texas has been terrible.
They still got good recruits, and they'll always the brand is too big. Like, they're going to get good recruits.
Hook 'em horns, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, so again, it's the demise of Texas hasn't been the recruits; it's been everything else that's going on in the coaching staff. That when Mac Brown left, and things were starting to crumble a little bit when Mac Brown was there, if you remember correctly. So it's you're right. You're playing good defense. It's like, but you think that's a good thing. But why the hell is that a good thing for you? You know, like, run up 67 points on Tulsa. Like, do your thing. You think that Oklahoma quarterbacks are going to be winning Heisman's at the rate they were when they were in the Big 12 when they go to the SEC? That's not going to happen.
Listen, the SEC is by far the best football conference there is. As far as the rest of the sports, going Big 12 to SEC, I'm sure competition is going to be just as damn good. But for football, there is no league better than the SEC. And, I mean, if Ohio State was to leave the Big Ten, what do they got? Michigan's a name. That's it anymore. Sparty, Wisconsin, those aren't – I mean, you're basically becoming the MAC at that point, the way those teams are.
Out of the Big Ten, what's the second most class team right now? It's got to be Wisconsin. It's got to have been Wisconsin.
Yeah, for years I feel like it's been
yeah, I think it's –
and then probably Northwestern.
Yeah, you're right.
You've got Nebraska. You've got Michigan. I mean, those are two of the biggest names in schools of college football ever, and those teams have done nothing of late. And now Jim Harbaugh is talking about we're going to do everything we can. We're going to die to beat Ohio State. That might happen because that might be your only chance.
Eventually, they're going to beat Ohio State.
You have to. I mean, odds of probabilities and all
it's
that
been
here.
a lot of fun just like doing this for like 7 or 8 or however many years we've been able to do this for. But like eventually Ohio State's going to lose. But damn it, I hope it's SWAT when Jim Harbaugh is at the helm. I really do.
Yeah. And Clemson to go from the ACC. You lose Clemson in the ACC. I mean, then you got North Carolina as your best team possibly.
So it's going to be like,
I mean,
and then what the SEC will do is they'll like throw out the shitty schools.
No.
They'll like delegate them back to like them. So it'll be like a top tier, like 25 teams, and then there'll be like a middle tier. They'll almost make it like Major League Baseball, AAA, AA. You know what I mean?
They're going to be running like a European soccer league where if you finish in the bottom 3, you get booted to the league below. Like,
bro, their games are going to be at like 3 a.m.
Like, all right, you finished in the bottom 2 last year and the year before. You're now going to the Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah.
But if you win the Sun Belt, you can come back next year. I mean, SEC is loaded. And for Texas, Oklahoma, this makes conference more fun. They're good teams, but for those teams, it's just you're not beating Alabama. You might beat Auburn. You're not beating Georgia. I mean, Mississippi State. I mean, there's some damn good teams in that SEC.
There is.
It's crazy. And speaking of guys from the SEC,
it all happened really fast too.
Yeah,
it was all like, hey, there's a report Texas and Oklahoma want to go to the SEC, and then it was like a week later, it's like, hey, they're going to the SEC. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't start till 2025, but still, for them to be like, hey, they went from flirting to getting hitched in 2 days like it's a damn reality show. I mean, that's the way they roll with it. And let's move back in the NFL. Guy from the SEC, Dak Prescott, coming off an injury. Training camp starts, injured again, and now not throwing for a few days.
I hate that for Dak, man. Because I like Dak. And I think that with a healthy Dak, that offense is going to be really good.
That defense is also going to be really bad.
Yeah, yes. But it's like, again, with the receivers they have, I mean, the lineup of what? CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Zeke, a healthy offensive line. You want, and you know how it is. Dak had a pretty major injury, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the thing that's at least encouraging. I don't want to say it's encouraging because it's his throwing arm.
Yeah.
But it's not the injury he had before, right? Yeah. So, but like the amount of work and things that go in just to get back and then to fucking go out on the first day of training camp and you're all of a sudden on the injured list already. It's got to be pretty shitty for him. And I know Dallas fans they're probably terrified of things at this point.
Listen, I can't stand the Cowboys. Don't care if they go 0-17, but I do like Dak. I do like Zeke. I think right now Dak deserves to have a good year, and I think he will.
Dude, he was on pace. Like he was going nuts at the beginning of last year. I think he had like 2 or 3 500 yards games in his first 6 games. That's and yeah, I think you're right about Zeke as well. I expect Zeke to have a good year.
Another injury in camp. Shane Lemieux, Giants guard, injured, carted off in camp. You hate to see these things with training camp.
Well, you need training camp though. Like,
I mean, you do.
It sucks. There's no other way to put it. It just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
The Cam Akers thing sucks. Like we I want everybody to have a healthy squad at least for the first week. It would be nice if everybody could just be healthy week 1, then we roll and whatever happens. But yeah, man, it's just terrible. Especially like, again, these guys work their ass off, and then to get hurt and a practice in your shorts and a t-shirt, it's kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm. And this is exactly why our NFL season preview isn't going to be until the week before football starts, before the season starts.
Yeah, like real football.
We don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
like we can say, you know what, the Giants are going to win it all. You know, Shane Lemieux is going to be blocking. Saquon's going to be running behind him. It's going to look really good. And then, I mean, Shane Lemieux's out. That hurts. That's a hell of a player. Kid out of Oregon who's worked his ass off to be pretty damn good. I think he was like a 4th or 5th round pick.
You're right.
And he's worked his way up to be a hell of a player. Now you basically could be out the rest of the year, and the season hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. Every team's going to have one or multiple. Like, it's just the way it works. It's just like you're hoping it's not like – it's hoping you don't get like the message it's like Baker Mayfield, like was you know what I mean? Like
Let's not kid about that right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not joking about it. This is like you know what I mean. Just like any of like the or if Miles Garrett or so whatever you want to talk. Like you don't ever want to get like that message. Like, and it's you hope that the coaches are smart enough to kind of know how to navigate the waters here with the veterans to make sure they're getting into A, football shape, but B, you're saving them. Like, right? Like we're not going to have OBJ go out here and run 700 goes off of his injury, right? Like let's take everything slowly here. Lots of big name players this year in the NFL coming off very significant injuries, and some that the thing that stinks about Cam Akers, like in his injury, like look at the running backs that have had that injury, and it's basically they're out of the league within a year or two.
Yeah,
that's why you hate seeing stuff like that.
It can kill your explosion. I mean,
exactly.
But you hope this kid's young enough and works hard enough at that rehab to get back into it. But, I mean, these are the things that suck about training camp. Other thing that sucks about training camp is the ridiculous reports we see on Twitter.
Douchey people that are like, oh, he caught a ball, move him on my board. Yeah. I hate that.
Well, there we go. We're starting right there. I was going to ask you, what do you hate seeing from training camp? Or what is the one tweet you saw today that just drove you crazy?
It wasn't today. It was the CeeDee Lamb catch yesterday.
Okay.
And it wasn't even a catch. Like, it was cool and everything, but like, it's guys are like, and I get it to an extent because we haven't seen football highlights in a very long time, like, right? And so, like, hey, like Jacksonville Jaguars fans, Trevor Lawrence threw a 1 yard screen to ETN, and it was the greatest thing ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it. Like, everybody's excited, but it's like, all that matters is like, again, everybody being healthy going in it. Like you want the young guys to get the reps. You want them to get, in there, especially with the, the skill positions. You want that repetition with the quarterback and whatnot. But it's like, just let's relax. Like on everything. Like I get everybody's excited, but like all of it, like it's none of it matters. Like, we went 4-0 and lost every game. We went 4-0 in the preseason and lost every single game. So like until week 1, I don't give a damn. I don't. And like fantasy wise, like yes, I love fantasy football, and I get like that. Hey, this is some exciting fantasy stuff to talk about because everybody's been talking about fantasy stuff for like 7 months, and there hasn't been any real fantasy stuff.
The fantasy of fantasy.
Lord. Yes. Good Lord, with the guys making any, like, come on, I can't do it, won't do it.
Browns fans, I love you. I'm a Browns fan myself. Big Browns fan. Love my Brownies. We're going to lose all our games this year. You know why? Because I saw a tweet from Darryl Ryder.
Yeah.
Cody Parkey went 1 for 5 in camp today, kicking. We're not going to make any field goals. It's going to be a long year, guys.
Yep.
It's over. Just pack it up. Pack up the trucks. Get them out of there now. Don't even play the games.
It reminded me of something else I hate. I hate it. When somebody gets cut, your team doesn't have to sign him. Not every damn player is needed to be on the Lions. He's up for a trade. Not every single guy. It's like at Lions, every comment at Lions. It's like, dude, please stop. Like we can't
insert fan base here is what that really means.
It's every single fan base. Xavier Howard's up for he's requesting a trade. Lions. It's like, please can we stop like that?
Nature report. Should the Browns trade Greedy Williams, a 2nd round pick, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett for Xavier Howard to a Tagliavoa? What?
Yeah.
No.
I know. No. That drives me crazy as well.
And you hit it with the OBJ thing, man. Like, I'm happy he's back. I'm happy he's past his physical. Happy he's running routes.
He's happy he's passed that physical too. Didn't he get about $1 million for doing that?
Yeah,
just for passing
$1 million just for showing up training camp. Not
too bad I couldn't pass one. For $1 million.
For $1 million, I would pass my ass on the physical, no problem. I might have to be like, yo, Doc, I'll slip you $250 of this. But
let's figure this out.
We'll figure something out. We'll work it out. But listen, I love the fact football's back, but we got to calm down, y'all. And this is why we're not doing our preview once again until the week before the NFL season starts. You find it here, Full Coverage Football Show. We are off next week. 2 weeks from now, though, we will welcome at Detroit Beastie back on, hopefully, to begin his every Thursday visit. And we'll start talking fantasy football then, getting you ready for your drafts. Because if you've already drafted, I hope you took Cam Akers first or second round because
you're psycho.
Let's just push those back a little bit, too. I get it. We're all excited. We all can't wait. I'm sure you're doing your mock drafts.
Well, after the third, you can do it after the third preseason game because pretty much nobody's playing in the fourth one.
Well, there's no fourth one this year.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to think, there is no. So you can draft. Well, how is that going to work then? Is the second one the dress rehearsal?
I don't know yet.
All right, well, hey, we'll figure it out.
We'll have to talk about in 2 weeks because we're going to have games we can talk about in 2 weeks to see how things are going. It'll be a lot of fun. But let's talk about some good NFL things real quick. Some guys getting paid. Sam Hubbard, former Buckeye, OH, gets a 4-year, $40 million deal from the Cincinnati Bengals. That guy has not shown great sack numbers, but you know what? He pressures the quarterback, gets guys moving out of the pocket. He's done pretty well. Jonathan Allen, 17th overall pick, first rounder with the Washington football team. 4 years, $72 million. That kid's lived up to everything and more.
Yep.
He's a damn good player.
Yeah. Good deal for him, too.
Braden Smith, left tackle for the Colts, 4 years, $70 million extension. Good for him. Some of these guys getting paid massive amounts. But we all know in the NFL, that $70 million number means absolutely nothing because if you don't go through the whole thing, you're not getting all that. It is the
pass
guaranteed
rushers and left tackles. You know how it is. Quarterbacks, left tackles, they're going to get their money.
But for Washington, keeping that defensive line together right now.
I love watching the Washington football.
They're going to be fun.
Because I don't even want to watch them on offense. I just want to watch the front four. They're so much fun.
They're the team.
Montez Sweat, and then you add Chase Young, and it's just like the defensive tackles are fantastic. Like they're fun.
Matthew Ioannidis, Jonathan Allen, they're the only team I would go on to Madden and play just defense only. Defense.
Yeah.
But I'm not playing Madden, so I don't have to worry about it. That's why I don't care about any of these Madden rings coming out. Great for the guys being in the 99 club. I'm not buying Madden this year. Don't care enough to do it.
Yeah,
it'll be 2 or 3 years in a row now. But
something else pisses me off. People that are upset about Madden ratings for their favorite players. Like, who cares?
Did you see Boston Scott has a better better acceleration than Alvin Kamara? I don't care.
Nobody cares.
I don't care. And we're gonna address the comment there at some point. I mean, we've already talked basketball. Why not? Let's just do it right now. Let's go Guardians. Cleveland Indians changing their name to Guardians. They also don't have a manager now because he's out. Tito, time to retire, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move that. Let's move that out of the way. I am sad for Tito. Mm-hmm. But he does need to retire. But the Guardians, that's something.
I don't care what you call them. Don't. But that logo, I can't wear that shit. Get a better logo.
Oh, yeah. Remember when you sent me that golf jersey?
Yeah.
I'm going to send your ass a Guardians. Guardians
with the
something.
wing G on it? No.
And I'm going to make sure it's the most obnoxiously sized one, like where it takes up like half the shirt. It's coming your way soon.
You're going to end up finding that at Burlington Coat Factory.
With the tag on it.
Absolutely. But look, y'all, you can see our logo up in the corner there. Our logo we bought on Fiverr. I think we paid $25 for that logo. That logo is 10 times better than that Wing G logo. As far as Guardians, don't care. Call them the Cleveland Tampons. Win a World Series, you can call them whatever you want. I don't care. Call them the Cleveland baseball team. Do whatever you want. I love the Indians. Always going to love my team, regardless of what you call them. But I can't wear that damn logo.
I want to mention that they kind of aren't that good, too. Like, the Indians, like, now. Like, you say, yeah, I want you to win a World Series, but, like, they're definitely trending in the wrong direction from what we look back at Andrew Miller 2016. Like, it's all the good players are gone. You gotta hate it. Like my team sucks too. Like I get it. Like my team at least is showing like some promise. Where your team's kind of like their record's okay, but like their entire pitching staff was wiped out because of injury. And Tito's hanging them up. Like they traded their second baseman today, I believe. I don't know. It's baseball. But they're just not great. They're not great.
And listen, everyone can hate the Dolans all they want, and rightfully so for being cheap. But for 9 years, I think, in a row, we've been pretty damn good.
Yes. And I also think this, too, not to cut you off, but I also think, like, any name, is going to seem dumb and weird because it's been called the same thing for so long.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you're throwing a name into, like, a team, like, it's always going to kind of sound different, right? It's not going to sound like it was never going to, even like the Cleveland Spiders logo was sick or whatever, but like that doesn't sound like, I guess I could get more on board than the guy. Who knows? But like it was never going to be good. Like we have names of teams. Anytime you throw a new name in, like remember when Seattle they were the Supersonics? Like that shit was weird for a long time, but then it kind of became normal. But like
and they dropped to the Sonics and then they became the Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. But I think if like everybody's going to kind of give it a hard time. I think the logo didn't do it any favors.
If you're redoing everything, if you're changing the name, change the colors, switch it up, do something original. Instead, you keep the script look with the Guardians. You have to go with another Block C, which basically use Microsoft Paint to create. Like, I get it. And hey, trading Cesar Hernandez today, he was on a 1-year deal. You were going to lose him anyway. Get a prospect for him.
Sorry,
that's what you got to do.
Cesar Hernandez was the great player that I was referring to in the trade.
Trade any guy on a 1-year deal right now. Hell, if you can get something for James Karinchak, do it now because you're probably not going to re-sign him. And Emmanuel Claus is a better player.
Covered baseball show.
We could do it, but we'd have to only talk about our teams.
Yeah,
and we'd have to bring in a lot more experts.
Yes,
as far as Guardians,
anybody.
Don't care.
Yeah,
honestly, don't care.
I'm going to make fun of them because I hate the Indians. But that's fine.
It's fine. You hate the Indians. You don't hate the Guards. Let's go, Guards!
Oh, you're right. You're right. The Guardians, I don't hate them yet, but I will as soon as they change. When do they change? Is that next year?
Yep, next year. Wow. So you're going to have a new manager.
Looking forward to that.
New focus on your team. We'll see how they do. Biggest thing that bothers me about the Guardians is that when I go up to the Progressive Field, or the Jake as I'll always call it, and I go there and I have to hear some Yankees fan, because it always fills up with the Yankees fans going, you guys are really about the gods? You guys like the gods? It's guards. Use the fucking R in the word. That's going to be the thing that bothers me about Guardians.
This far ahead. You've already thought how the Yankees fans are going to piss you off by the way that they pronounce things.
But like I said, I don't care about the name. Call them the Tampons. Do whatever you want. Have Maxi Pad sponsor them. Do whatever you want. Win baseball games. You play to win the game.
My team's going to be good in a couple years. So
they are. You guys are loaded.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. But it's all that's the thing that sucks about baseball is you guys drafted a pitcher I liked out of Oklahoma. It doesn't mean anything because I'll forget him in the 5 years it takes him to run through the minors.
That's right. That's why you can't with Jackson Jobe. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah, Jackson Jobe.
Yeah, the Tigers have done nothing but take pitchers. The
Power Arms
baseball show. We have lots of them, and it'll be interesting. But yeah, to your point, it's like our kid's like 10, bro. Like that kid's not going to be up to the big leagues for like 7 years, and that's what sucks. It's like, how do I get behind a draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. When I not even able to kind of even see him. Oh shit! I need to plug. Bear with me. You talk. I got to plug my computer in.
Plug you in. I will take over. Okay. I had you doing half of it. Listen, call your teams whatever you want. Just win. That's what it's about. Win the games. Guardians, Tampons, like I said, whatever. Indians, listen, I love the Indians. I always will. Want them to be the Indians, but I get it. Move on. Your commissioner, worst commissioner in sports, by the way, Rob Manfred, worst commissioner in sports by far. He wanted to change, was going to make a big deal out of it. Guardians, Cleveland's got those Guardian statues, which I drive past all the time, and don't even realize are there. But, needless to say, this is the Full Coverage Football Show. And while we're talking baseball, Dodgers just got Max Scherzer.
Yeah, I saw that.
The rich get richer. The Yankees are getting Rizzo and Gallo to add to Judge. And listen, baseball, figure out a way.
Now that you mentioned my boss is a big Dodgers fan. So once I didn't see that. So I'll have to respond to him.
Not only did they get Max Scherzer, but they got Trey Turner as well. So they got the All-Star shortstop and a 3-time Cy Young winner. Pretty good deal for the Dodgers, who are pretty damn good already. Meanwhile, our teams combined to win as many games probably as the Dodgers do this year. Needless to say, let's get back to the show here. Let's go to one of our favorite new segments. Drew and Jay. BS about that day. Brother, how was your day today?
It was good, man. It was good. So I got this hat.
That's a badass hat.
It's pretty sick. Yeah, dude. This is my like pool vibing hat. Beers and stuff. My day is good. Yeah.
Speaking of vibe. So you see I've been drinking this mix all day, or it's for the whole show. This glass has whiskey in it. This is Coke. I'm drinking whiskey and Coke just separated.
It's a genius idea right now. Drink a bucket drink.
Yeah, and now we're tub thumping up in this bitch.
Let's go. No, man. Hey, everything's good with me. We're kind of just like, I'm in checked out vacation mode at this point. I'm
vacation.
Taking maybe an hour and a half off early tomorrow. I'm heading up north tomorrow. On Saturday. Got lots of elite golf courses set up.
Nice.
So it's gonna be fun. A private lake. We're in good shape. But nothing. Soccer's over. It was a relatively smooth day. Been gonna dive into some Olympic golf after this, and everything's good, man. Let me know what's going on with you, man.
You've been watching a lot of the Olympics?
Nope, zero except golf. And I heard Simone Biles situation. I heard about it, didn't see it. Listen, I can't get into the Olympics, man. I just can't do it.
I turned on the TV the other day, and beach volleyball, women's beach volleyball.
I could get into women's beach volleyball.
They are talented.
Yeah,
they're talented.
Sure they are.
And you know what? We're one guy short. If anybody wants to join our 3-on-3 Olympic basketball team in 4 years, we're ready to roll. I'm playing
that is
point
kind of
forward.
cool. I did see a little of 3-on-3 basketball. That actually isn't the worst.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Anyway, my day. Listen, I took my kids to Lake County Fair out here in Lake County, Ohio. We saw some pigs. We saw some horses, and I embarrassed the shit out of my kids.
You embarrassed them?
Oh, I embarrassed them, and I felt kind of bad, but I was just being me, being a moron. I mean, yeah, because I didn't mean to embarrass them. They embarrass easy, as I guess most kids do. I'm sure we've all been embarrassed by our parents. I know I have. But we're standing, getting a drink, and behind us is one of those little shops where they're just selling all kinds of random stuff, like hookah stuff and random T-shirts.
The ones that where they randomly stare at you and make you feel like you got to look at their when you stop and look at it, you feel like you have to buy it because they're death staring through your soul kind of places.
Kind of, but this is one of the ones with the tent where you can walk through and there's spray painted T-shirts and all that, or airbrushed. So we're looking at this one shirt, or I eventually started looking at it, but I heard these kids talking. These kids probably 14, 15 years old. Like, hey, Brian, you should get this Tupac shirt. You should get this Tupac shirt, Brian. And Brian comes over, and Brian's
Where was this?
I love Tupac. Lake County Fair. It's a shirt with what they thought was Tupac on it. Got a crown on his head. Yo, it was DMX. It's DMX. It wasn't Tupac. Black dude working behind the register, just shaking his head at these old white kids.
He didn't call him out?
No, he said nothing. So, being the man I am, I'm like, kids, that's not Tupac. I know you just said you love Tupac, but you don't even know what he looks like. That's DMX, baby. That's DMX. God rest his soul.
And they were embarrassed?
So oh, we didn't know. And scamper away to go on and make TikTok videos or some shit. So, God, I sound get off my lawn. Anyway.
You do?
Yeah. So I'm walking away. Dude behind the register is like, thanks, man. Thanks for telling him who that was. I'm like, hey, I only know how to be one way, and that's a dog. Woo-hoo! Give him the DMX line, bark at the guy, keep walking, and my kids are like, you're so embarrassing. But yeah, kids, know the difference between DMX and Tupac.
In fairness,
quote Tupac and DMX all in one day.
In fairness to your kids, you barked at another man, which can be slightly embarrassing.
But hey, I'm a Browns fan. We bark at everyone.
That's true.
Barking's normal.
Which is weird still. I don't want anybody really barking at me.
You tell me you don't roar at other Lions fans?
No, I don't. I mean, they can do the roar, and I'll just be like, well, maybe I do roar. No, that's hilarious. So the guy didn't do anything after you barked at him?
He just kind of shook his head, and I'm like, deuces. I kept walking. Like, I'm walking and already barking at the dude and quoting DMX. But yeah, kids,
That
know
is
the difference between DMX and Tupac. I mean,
yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, they're young. Like, you got to think, Tupac was dead when they were born.
yeah. I mean, I was like 12, 13 when Tupac died. I mean, it was a long ass time ago. And how have we not solved that murder? Come on, Las Vegas police. We all know what happened. We all know Suge Knight has something to do with it.
Poor Suge Knight. Oh, what a good one. That's hilarious.
And speaking of
hats out, tip the cap to the Lake County Fair.
The damn Lake County Fair.
Of fried food and shit. Did you walk around and eat fried food?
Tons of it. Yeah, I didn't eat any fried food.
Where's the Lake County Fair at again? 'Cause I'm sure I've been to it. I feel like I would win.
It's in Painesville.
Yeah, it's right off Menor Avenue, right?
Yep.
To the right hand side. Yeah.
Menor Fairgrounds Road.
Yeah. Yep. I have been to there.
We go every year, and every year I'm like, this is the same shit every time. There's nothing great about it, but hey, whatever.
Well,
and while we're talking about getting justice, let's talk about White Boy Rick. White Boy Rick needs to get out of jail in Florida now. Let that man out. Enough of this. Let that man out. Sorry, I watched a White Boy Rick documentary this morning at work.
In the Detroit Police Department for $100 million.
Yeah, and watch the White Boy documentary on Netflix. Very good.
All right. You get all your rap references in there at the end. You feeling good? Feeling good there?
I feel good.
All right.
I feel good.
Good.
I was going to start quoting Mace or something with the I feel good thing. But anyway, let's get into it. The best way to end our show, the way we end it once the NFL regular season and NCAA football regular season start with Ward's Wagers. We're doing a preseason version of Ward's Wagers. And yes, we said last week, Drew said it, we are not going to do preseason games. And I'm with you. We shouldn't be betting on preseason games because what kind of degens would we be if we're betting on preseason games? So we got some fun little NFL things that are happening. We can do touchdowns for certain quarterbacks, combination bets. Let's see where Drew goes. This is Ward's Wagers, sponsored by Latani CBD Olive Oil. To order, call 440-479-4832 or email anandamidej@gmail.com. It's $16.99 a bottle regularly, but on sale now, $14.99 a bottle. So, Drew, Aaron Rodgers regular season passing touchdowns, over or under 35.5?
Over.
Okay. That's a minus 115 bet there to get that. Let me see what other bets I had here. Baker Mayfield, over or under 28.5 touchdowns.
Under. Does that hurt your feelings?
Nope. Let's go.
I don't think he has to have 30 touchdowns for them to be successful.
I don't think so either. Because
I also
think
need to take into account there's an extra game too. Because I'm not thinking about that right now. But okay.
Aaron Jones over 1,050.5 regular season rushing yards, and Devontae Adams over 1,300.5 regular season receiving yards. Combining that, yes, is plus 250. So you're taking the no, right?
Yeah.
Get me into some teams.
That's a lot. That's a lot of yards.
Let's see what we got here.
Well, those are we just started off 3-0 Ward's Wagers right there.
Yeah, I think you're good. Let's go to your team.
Okay.
Or actually, let's go to my team first.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield over 3,999.5 regular season passing yards.
Of Baker Mayfield talk here in the show at the end.
And Nick Chubb over 1,350 rushing yards. Yes, is plus 400. You going yes?
Yes.
I hope you're right on that. I mean, that's a good year. But they'd lose every game because Cody Parkey went 1 for 5 today in practice.
That's right. That's unfortunate, man, that your guys' kicker sucks.
DeAndre Swift over 51.5 regular season receptions, and Brashad Perriman over 740 regular season receiving yards. Yes.
No, Jesus, what is it? Was it boosted by 700,000? How am I going to do
plus
that?
Plus 250 on that.
Yeah. So the problem is like, have you seen our wide receivers?
I forgot y'all had Brashad Perriman. Yeah, but that's a John Dorsey guy.
He's probably the second best behind Quintez Cephas or Tyrell Williams. I things aren't like lit up at the skill positions out on Detroit. Besides,
we got a plus 30,000 bet.
Okay,
it's plus 30,000. Detroit Lions to be NFC number 1 seed. How you feel about that plus 30 grand?
That would be basically just burning dollar bills. Lots of them. Yes, that's never going to happen. My team's not going to be good. We'll get into predictions, I'm sure here soon, but it's not going to be a lot of wins.
Plus 1,000 for the Lions to have a winning season, yes or no?
No.
All right. Let's go to.
I would love to. Like, I want to be. I think they win seven games, 8 games at most, but like 8 games still isn't winning. It's still not a 500 football.
Buffalo Bills to win their first 5 games plus 600.
Who do they play?
Well, we'll have to find that out.
I mean, that's a very important part of the situation.
Hang on. Let's pull that up.
I mean, I'm going to say no.
See what the Buffalo Bills schedule is.
I mean, that's...
Their first 5 games are against... why did you give me preseason? Nobody cares. Steelers, Dolphins, Washington, Houston, and that 5th game is against Kansas City.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say no still.
I mean, that's a tough one. They could start 4-0.
I also feel like on paper we always are like, oh, they're playing this team. And it's like there's teams that we're always going to undervalue when it comes to the regular season. I think Washington could actually be a pretty decent football team.
I think so, too. That defensive
football
line,
team, no pun intended.
Josh Allen, MVP. Stephon Diggs, over 9.5 regular season receiving touchdowns. And the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC. 3-thing parlay, plus 2,000 is yes.
It's just not enough. That's not enough juice at plus 2,000.
Yep.
I think that those things are possible. I do, but plus 2,000 is just not enough juice on a parlay like that.
I think it's possible too, but yeah, it just doesn't work money wise. Y'all listening on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, anywhere you get Amazon. Hey, Alexa, listen to the Full Coverage Football Show. Or those watching on Periscope, YouTube, or Facebook, listen to this guy. He kills it when it comes towards wagers. 2 years running, killed it. Listen to these bets. We'll do one more. Let's see what we got here. Let's do another team special. Let's go spin the wheel. LA Chargers. Austin Eckler, 7.5 regular season touchdowns. And Mike Williams over 999.5 regular season receiving yards. Yes, plus 550.
Yep.
I'm in on that one. I like that one. How about Joey Bosa? Over 11.5 regular season sacks, plus Chargers to make the playoffs. Yes, it's plus 400.
I can't. I'd love to, but like Joey Bosa being dinged up recently worries me a little bit. I certainly 11.5 is gettable, especially over 17 games, but I'm not going to touch that one.
I would stay away from it too because I'm not sure they're a playoff team.
Yeah, that too. That part too.
But we will talk more about that in about 3 weeks or so. 2 weeks from now when we come back, we'll be joined hopefully by Detroit Beastie. We'll hear more about Drew's vacation. Anything else you want to get on before we get out of here tonight?
That's it, man. Everybody have a good week, good weekend, and we'll catch you in 2 Thursdays from now.
2 weeks. We'll see you then. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, everyone who joined us on Facebook Live, YouTube, or Periscope on Twitter there, and stuck through with a little bit of technical difficulties to start the show with internet deciding to go off. And thank you again, whatever Jane or Julia from Spectrum, for calling me and telling me that they were having internet issues in my area. Really freaking weird because I never got that call before, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, this is the Full Coverage Football Show, y'all. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you in 2 weeks live at 8 p.m. Until then, check out our Facebook page, fb.me/FCFSpod, where you can find all of our shows, check out our old shows, go back as far as you want, listen to Ward's Wagers, know what this man's talking about, get into it, understand that you're going to make money.
Yes.
And if you listen to Detroit Beastie coming up, you're going to win money on DFS. We are here to help you win that money, your hard-earned cash. We're here for you. Until then, as always, remember, if you live the life you love, you'll love the life you live. Night, kids.